Good evening to all. Warm greetings, dear friends. Welcome you all to the land of Tandai Periyar. To say that I am happy to be with you today is an understatement, as I cherish every moment of my association with anything concerned with Periyar and his self-respect movement from my childhood days. I thank our Asiriyar, Ayya K. Veeramani, and everyone associated with this event for having invited me. I deem it an honor to speak in front of a knowledgeable audience like you, coming from all over the country. Tandai Periyar, who launched the self-respect movement in Tamil Nadu about a century ago, said that wisdom and self-respect are the jewels to human beings. The 4 words he uttered sounds more poetic in Tamil. Let me say that Manamum Arivum Manidarikku Alagu. At times when the literacy rate in India was below 10% and female literacy was at an abysmal below 3%, Periyar launched his movement, started questioning everything, and traveled throughout the length and breadth of India, spreading the message of scientific temper and humanism. That is the topic which I am interested to deal with. It was due to his more than 50 years of toil, starting from 1925, as a full-time dedicated worker, propagating the message of self-respect that Tamil Nadu today stands tall as a land of peace and prosperity. In a way, Article 51A(h) of the Indian Constitution only reiterates Tandai Periyar's ideology when it requires that every citizen must develop scientific temper, humanism, spirit of inquiry, and spirit of reform. Friends, when we look at what is happening in this country today, we can clearly discern 2 trends emerging that are mutually contradictory. On the one hand, we are making huge progress in the fields of science and technology. We have successfully conducted 3 moon landing missions called Chandrayans in the last 2 decades at a stunningly low budget, making the world look at us with awe and inspiration. Success of Indian Mars Orbiter mission, Mangalyaan, has made us the first Asian nation to reach Mars orbit and the first nation to do so on its very first attempt. Our country today has many innovation centers. It is ranked as the top innovation destination in Asia. We also have the 3rd largest scientific and technical manpower in the world. Our technical manpower, our engineers and doctors run the topmost companies of the world. All this shows the tremendous progress that we have made in the last 75 years after attaining independence from the British rule. That is the first trend. The trend of progress in science and technology. The trend of success stories made possible by the spread of scientific temper. All these success stories were due to the unstinted toil of our political and social leaders, committed to foster scientific temper over the decades. In a country known for snake charmers and cattle worshippers for thousands of years. The other trend, regrettably, is the onslaught of the regressive forces trying to take the country back to the barbarian times, trying to neutralize and negate all the positive work done in the past few decades, and trying to put the clock back to Vedic times. At the outset, I want to make it clear that this onslaught and going back to the past is a political project, a project aimed at keeping the masses under the perpetual control of the vested interests. With that aim, they try to propagate falsehood. They try to spread misinformation in their anxiety to glorify and promote a particular political view. The present day union government is actively taking anti-science and anti-people stance. Our Prime Minister himself is at the forefront of these efforts, spreading falsehoods and saturating the public sphere with dubious claims as scientific facts. Speaking to a gathering of doctors at Mumbai in 2014, the Prime Minister claimed that plastic surgery existed in ancient India. He said, and I quote, "We worship Lord Ganesha. There must have been some plastic surgeon at that time who got an elephant's head on the body of a human being and began the practice of plastic surgery." That is the word uttered by Prime Minister. He could not take a second's pause to ask himself, how could that be possible for anyone to attach the huge head of an elephant on the frail body of a human being that was created out of the scrubbed up dirt from a woman's body? His deputies and associates do not lag behind him in making similar false claims. A member of parliament from his party, namely Pragya Singh Thakur, she claimed that a mixture of cow urine and other cow products cured her breast cancer. That is what she claimed. Under his regime, taking a cue from their political masters, even academics and professionals stooped to making such ridiculous and foolhardy claims. Addressing the 106th Indian Science Congress in 2019, Vice Chancellor of the Hyderabad University, G. Nageshwar Rao, he claimed that it was ancient Hindus who pioneered the stem cell research. He said, "We had 100 Gauravas from one mother because of stem cell and test tube technology." He says even during Mahabharata, there was stem cell technology. That is what he claimed. He went on to add that Vishnu used guided missiles in the form of Vishnu Chakra, which was advanced enough to chase targets and terminate them before boomeranging back to him. He also claimed that Ravana, the antagonist in the epic Ramayana, possessed 24 kinds of aircrafts and operated several airports. That is what he claims. In April 2018, the then Chief Minister of Tripura, Biplab Dev, claimed that the internet was invented by ancient Indians thousands of years ago. That is what he claimed. Minister of Science and Technology, Harshavardhan, he claimed that the Vedas had a theory which trumped the relativity theory of Einstein. Satyapal Singh, the Minister of State for Human Resource Development, the department in charge of educating our children, claimed that Charles Darwin's theory of evolution was scientifically wrong. His funny reasoning was that since man is seen on earth, he has always been a man. Nobody, including our ancestors, in written or oral, said they ever saw an ape turning into a human being. That is what he claimed. We have hundreds of such claims from responsible people betraying their foolishness or nefarious designs, or both, from claiming that peacocks reproduce by swallowing tears, to conducting yajna by burning wood to purify environment, to finding gold in cow's urine, to claiming that Indians made interplanetary aircraft 7,000 years ago. These are the utterances, foolish utterances of persons who are occupying the highest position. As we know, these claims are utterly childish and innocuous. Even an average high school student will debunk them without much efforts. Then the question that arises is, why do well-read, responsible and powerful people make such foolish claims? Do they really believe in all these nonsense statements? When a prime minister of this country or other such responsible persons opens their mouth in a formal gathering like a science conference, they are not delivering their opinions as individuals. Despite the imagination of the general public, every single word uttered by such high dignitaries are prepared and vetted by the bureaucracy or their officers much in advance. Therefore, a prime minister talking like this must be taken only as a considered policy of the government. Similarly, we should also take the professionals and academics as making these statements knowing very well that they are false. Then why do they keep on spreading such falsehoods? What is the motive behind their claims and assertions? That is the key question to be asked by this forum. That is the key question before the people of this country. That is the question that holds the key to our future and the future of our progeny. The answer is simple. They have nefarious design. It is all parts of a well thought out plan. Parts of a plan to keep the people under their control perpetually. For them, keeping the people under their feet is more important than developing the country or ensuring good living standards for everyone. They do not want the people to get educated. They do not want the people to question them. They do not want anyone to challenge the exploitative, unequal, inhuman religion. They want to keep the social order they have imposed on us for thousands of years intact. Clearly, it is a concerted effort. Whether it is a NEET or other entrance exams, the new education policy, one nation, one election, etc., the aim is the same. It is to deny the diversity of views. It is to deny the tradition of questioning authority. It is also to deny the ordinary people their right to a decent livelihood. That is why they do not like people like Periyar, Ambedkar, and Phule. That is why people like Gauri Lankesh, M.M. Kalburgi, Narendra Dabholkar, and Govind Bansare are killed in this country. Therefore, the question of scientific temper is not just an academic exercise. It has implications much beyond. It has implications for our political and social life. I would like to go to the extent of saying that cultivation of scientific temper is the single most important thing we should ever bother about. There is an urgent need for a renewed commitment to the scientific temper that is evidence-based reasoning and critical thinking. We are living in an era of post-truth culture, intentional promotion of ignorance, and misuse of technology. Today, it is quite easy to dupe even a well-educated person using the technological advancements. We are seeing perfectly normal-looking videos, political leaders and celebrities being circulated that are actually made using artificial intelligence. We are also witnessing some political leaders, after making irresponsible statements, hiding behind the technology, claiming that their video was manipulated using the artificial intelligence. In this regard, I would like to wholeheartedly endorse the declaration and resolution on scientific temper adopted by a national convention in Kolkata earlier this year. The Kolkata Convention called for action across three fronts: the state's role, the involvement of scientific and academic institutions, and combating the undermining of science by the state, the erosion of academic freedom, and the spread of pseudoscience and unscientific beliefs. Article 51A of the Constitution of India speaks of the duty of citizens to promote scientific temper. In the initial post-independence decades, successive governments at the center placed significant trust in scientists and scientific institutions. Development policies were evidence-driven, with research institutions and centers of excellence enjoying high priority and prestige and substantial autonomy. Documents like the Industrial Policy Resolution and Scientific Policy Resolution were adopted, laying a solid foundation for a planned development strategy guided by a multidisciplinary group of experts in the Planning Commission. Independent scientists and social scientists were involved in policy making, underlining the importance given to science and evidence-based policy making. Notably, religion played a minimal role in government affairs, and secularism, defined as non-discrimination and equal respect for all religions, was practiced. In the last 10 years or so, the union government displays a marked departure from this earlier stance. Now the government at the center and its various organs are actively opposing scientific approach, independent or critical thinking, and evidence-based policy making. Funding, fellowships, and independent research face severe cuts in academic and research institutions, burdened by overpowering bureaucratic success. On numerous issues, the government takes important policy decisions without solid data, clear logic, or even undergoing through the necessary democratic consultation process. Open discussions in higher learning institutions are discouraged, hindering critical thinking, pluralism, and academic freedom. Unscientific claims by prominent figures in political circles, boasting of imaginary technological achievements, and exaggerated ideas about ancient Indian knowledge are used to build and support a hyper-nationalist narrative. Dissent and plurality of opinion, known to be enabling conditions for intellectual progress, are under severe threat. It is disheartening to witness these trends now being introduced into the formal education system, potentially influencing an entire generation unless effectively countered. The giant strides of modern science and technology cannot be undermined or replaced by fictional narratives, as seen in revised school textbooks of agencies at the center and in various states. These revised textbooks also omit chapters on crucial historical, societal, economic, and ecological issues in India. In higher education, mandatory courses on traditional knowledge systems are being introduced, presenting a historical and distorted accounts of knowledge in ancient India. This deliberate slant aims to erase or rewrite historical evidence and abstract critical thinking, leaving students and citizens vulnerable to bias and instilling a distorted view of syncretic Indian traditions and multicultural reality. In the long run, this will result in incalculable damage to the progress of Indian science and to social harmony. Therefore, it is clear that it is not only the religion-based belief system practiced by the common people that hampers the growth of scientific temper in India. There are other much stronger forces behind the persistence of blind beliefs in the country. Power in the hands of progressive elements can go a long way in ensuring that the government's priorities and society's priorities are aligned in the right direction. A progressive government under the leadership of our beloved leader, Dalabadi, Honorable M.K. Stalin, is very successful in controlling the designs of those who try to arouse communal tensions. The Dravidian model government under his leadership has ensured that every marginalized section of the society gets its due share. Tamil Nadu, with its 9% per annum growth rate, has proven to the world that growth with social justice is very much attainable. It has also become the most attractive investment destination for both domestic and foreign companies. After M.K. Stalin assumed office, it has reached to the third from the 14th position earlier. Many of the schemes and policies of the government of Tamil Nadu have become a model for the other states to follow. The government committed to the ideologies of Periyar is at the forefront of the opposition, challenging regressive steps like the new education policy, Citizen Amendment Act, etc. Even as we celebrate the centenary of Vaikam Satyagraha led by Tandai Periyar, that challenged the age-old discriminatory practice of not allowing untouchable people to access public roads, thereby effectively giving a death blow to the Varnashrama Dharma or Sanatana Dharma. Our young leader, the Deputy Chief Minister, Mr. Udayanithi, took the challenge to the national stage. Thus, Tamil Nadu shows how attaining political power is also important for spreading scientific temper in a society like India. It is not without reason that Tandai Periyar came with his trademark slogan that he who invented God is a fool, he who propagates God is a scoundrel, he who worships God is a barbarian. They are doing it only for the selfish ends. That is why he opposed. Therefore, while working for spreading the scientific temper, we have to not only encounter with fools, we also have to encounter with the barbarians and the scoundrels. We must strive to keep the education system clear of all the preconceived notions and blind beliefs. We must inculcate scientific curiosity and thinking capabilities from early childhood days. Governments must be forced to at least double their spending on scientific research and education. Presently, the governments at the center and the states together spend only about 4% of the GDP on education. Above all, the general public must always be vigilant. The success of democracy and social progress cannot happen without promoting science and rational knowledge. Scientific temper and rationality are not the end, but the means for robust discussion, debate, and decision making to make our systems more meaningful and inclusive, showing us a way for peace, progress, and prosperity. With these words, I conclude my speech. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. You are provided the details, keynotes with the examples, and the delegates notes that how he detailed with the examples given to you because of the Article 51 AS and the scientific temper. Thank you so much. Now I invite Dr. V. Nehru for the presentation.
Good evening, all. Dear and respected Chairperson Anand Kumaresan and Mumbai Ravichandran, and the special address which has been given by our former Union Minister, respected